When I reach 1000 subscribers I will be giving away a $25 Amazon gift card away. To enter, like, subscribe and leave a comment below. Posted by u/edale1. Favorite teacher gets wrongfully fired, so I get 3/4 of the staff arrested. I'll start off by saying this happened to my sister, and the actions taken were hers. My sister has always gotten along very well with her teachers, and has a habit of forming actual friendships with them, to the point that she still talks to her 5th grade English teacher, along with many others, decades later. This happened about 15 years ago. My sister was a student at Job Corps, a government-run live-on-campus vocational training program, studying hotel/motel management. She got on extremely well with her hotel/motel management teacher, better than pretty much every teacher she'd already had up to that point. One day, the teacher goes to the center's dean's office and walks in on a paper shredding session. It turned out that there was some pretty major embezzling happening at the center, as in more than 60% of the funds for the center were being stolen. The teacher was appalled, and despite some rather lucrative offers made, refused to join in on these acts. Less than a week later, the teacher was fired for trumped up reasons. This was especially bad given the teacher was only 2 years away from retiring, and being fired, lost their retirement package. Needless to say, my sister was pissed, knowing how things typically work, and that almost any report she tried to make would just be swept under the rug if it was taken seriously at all. She came up with a plan and took things nuclear. Over the next month or two, my sister managed to gather some basic evidence of the embezzling. Nothing concrete, but enough to warrant considerable investigation by the authorities. She took the little evidence she was able to gather, along with the story of what happened to her teacher, and sent the info in an email to the Job Corps regional director. Now, like I said, she knew that her email would likely be ignored, or the event swept under the rug, so she got smart. The email was CC'd to every single major person in the Job Corps chain of command, all the way up to the national director, as well as to anyone even tangentially related to Job Corps in the upper echelons of the Department of Labor, and every member of Congress, as well as the US President's office. Remember, this was a government-run program. All in all, the email was sent to over 2,000 people. Basically, she not only sent the report, but sent it in such a way that everyone who got it could also see everyone else who got it, and she sent it to way more people than would be needed to ensure the issue couldn't be swept under the rug. 2 weeks later, after the investigation finished, never seen the government work so fast on anything that wasn't collecting owed taxes. Only 5 or 6 staff members, out of 20-ish, that worked in the center, still had their jobs, and at least 5 of the ones fired, including the dean, were facing major criminal charges, with the rest facing minor charges. I'm not sure of the exact figure on how much was stolen, but it was well into the 7 digits. The embezzling had been happening for years. The teacher got a very nice severance package post-investigation. It was 3 years of pay, her full retirement package, and signing her NDA, though she didn't get her job back, and my sister was given her completion certificate. Despite not having finished the requirements of the course, they wanted her gone, but couldn't kick her out. Posted by u/herire889. Work did nothing about sexual harassment, so I took it into my own hands. I was told by a friend to post this story here, so here it goes. I work a heavy labor job with a 95% male population. My workplace has a zero-tolerance sexual harassment policy, but when push comes to shove, apparently that's not true. The men at my work are ruthless. I've heard so many sexual comments from people I've never spoken to before, I've lost count. Imagine the most vulgar statement you can think of. I've heard worse, but I'll let it slide. It doesn't bother me. However, I've been stalked by this guy, James. He parked beside my car every day, so he could walk into work with me and leave work with me. He would follow me after work to figure out what my routine was. Whatever, I ignored it. Probably should have kept it documented though. I'm a very outgoing person at work and know just about everyone. A few of my friends said James was telling them I sent him naked photos. His friend Muhammad chimed in he's seen them, and it's 100% true. Well, that was the last straw and I reported him to human resources. Nothing came out of it other than a slap on the wrist. The manager told me to wear baggier clothing and have thicker skin. However, a lot of the other females at work told me they are having the same problem with these two men and work is doing nothing about it. Well, now James and Muhammad have a god complex and have been showing naked photos to anyone they can, saying it's me, which I've explained to many people who have come up to me that it's not me because I'm covered in tattoos. So unless that girl has all the same tattoos, it's not me. I also don't take naked photos. They go out of their way to bully me for snitching on them like little kids. Well, after a few months of this and knowing other girls are in the same boat, I had enough. I could report them again, but I doubt anything will come of it. So I had an idea. A few nights ago I was driving home and they sped past me at the speed of light, honking their horns, high beaming me, etc. So I went home and gave an anonymous tip to the police because this happens 5 days of the week. The police caught them the next day, fined for stunt driving, license suspended, cars impounded for 7 days, and need to go to court. Work is a long commute from our town. They have no way of getting to work, and after 7 call-ins, you're fired. Now, they can reflect at home with no job, no license, or increased insurance about how karma is a B***tch. Edit. I've read all the comments when I woke up. Thank you so much for the support, everyone. I'm overwhelmed by the nice comments towards me. I've been feeling very down about the situation and you've lifted me up. I'm now documenting everything in case anything else happens. As for the religion comments, I'm sorry this turned into a religious debate. If it gives any affirmation to the Muslims reading this, Muhammad was born in North America and very Americanized. I don't think he practices a religion. I'm also sorry this is more pro-revenge than nuclear according to a few comments. I don't browse Reddit much, just look at cute animals and stuff video game related. A friend of mine told me to post here. Hope you all enjoyed the story anyway. Posted by u/skidmarksmelabum. Almost kill someone we respect and put the blame on us. Lose life as you know it. Hello. I have been enjoying the pro-revenge, nuclear revenge, entitled Parents, Malicious Compliance and I Don't Work Here vids on YouTube, and they just brought back all kinds of memories, so I thought I would post a few. I'm posting this one here, as I seem to notice that nuclear revenge tends to not only have devastating effects, but sometimes questionable means were used, and this story fits that perfectly. So, anyway, it is the early 90s, and I was in my 20s, working as an electrician with my best friend. We were known as the Hawkie, me, and Trapper/Honeycut, old MASH reference, team of our crew, and we kept everyone on the job site laughing, and in good spirits, even in the worst of times. We were working new construction of an elementary school, and had been on site since the very beginning. We were 2 weeks away from punch out, that is where construction is complete and inspections are done, looking for any flaws or corrections that need to be made. In a hoe, the superintendent over the whole construction site was a major jackhole and had been since day one. He was new and wanting to make a name for himself. It was his first time running a job, and he made several mistakes and always blamed others. Remember me mentioning worst of times? He constantly cut corners to save on cost, which would turn around and bite him later on. He had gotten several good hands fired. He would run good contractors off of the job and bring in his friends to replace them. The drywallers and painters were a couple of examples, and I had heard that he had half of the plumbers run off and replaced with his crew as well. He was a total jackhole to us electricians as well, wanting us to work overtime, but not willing to pay it. He was really wanting to keep us behind so that he could charge the company fines. Our small company finally brought in a couple of extra hands, which pissed him off even more because we were starting to catch up. By the time Christmas rolled around, we were ahead of everyone else, and as mentioned, the job was nearing punch-out status. 2 weeks before Christmas, my friend's car, since I was his roommate, I carpooled with him as I didn't have my own transportation, lost its rear end, and we, my best friend and I, missed 2 days of work repairing it. The jackhole superintendent saw this as an opportunity and told our job foreman to have us fired, if not run us off the job site. He tried to kick us off property himself, but since he had no legal means, tried to have our job foreman run us off, citing we were unsafe and a distraction keeping others from getting any work done. His argument was dismissed since, as I mentioned, we were ahead of everyone else. It was the day before Christmas Eve, our last day, before we would be off for the holiday. He knew our supervisor, who was visiting that day, was deathly afraid of snakes. Earlier that day, a small rattlesnake had been found hibernating beneath a porta-john that had been moved and killed. Gotta love Texas. The jackhole superintendent had brought a cooler full of beer for his crew for when the day ended. Well, our supervisor made his rounds, inspecting our work and talking to our foreman, and since we were his last stop, was ready to leave and start his holiday. The superintendent told him to have a beer and pointed out the cooler. Our supervisor opened the lid to the cooler and had a heart attack. Literally, the dead snake was inside. When the EMTs finally cleared him, the supervisor was telling him that he saw me and my friend at the cooler earlier that day and blamed us. Of course, we had been under the foreman's nose all day, in which half of it was with the supervisor, and our supervisor was aware to the jackhole's tricks, so he did not give in to the demands of us being fired. Now for the nuclear revenge. My friend and I did not take kindly to our supervisor being harmed, nor to the blame being pinned on us. Do to us what you will, but do not harm those in whom we have respect. Like I said, it was the last day of work before the Christmas holiday. We had Christmas Eve and Christmas off. After work, my friend and I drove to a bait shop and picked up a gallon of Catfish Charlie. For those who don't know, catfish are attracted to really foul odors, and Catfish Charlie was one of the stinkiest baits used for fishing for catfish. I mean, one whiff will turn your stomach and you will turn green. A cast iron stomach is what's need, not to just lose your lunch. We drove back to the school and around back to where the air handler unit was. For those who don't know, the air handler is a main environmental unit of commercial buildings, /heating. We opened up the main intake duct and dumped the whole bucket of the Catfish Charlie and closed the duct back up. For good measure, we had also added about a quart and a half of water and stirred into a nice thinner paste so that it would not quickly dry out. I did learn that, even though long-time smokers, I could hold my breath a full minute and a half, and my friend 2 minutes, probably due to him being ex-military. Neither of us could see for about 10 minutes due to the tears, and it was a miracle we didn't lose the contents of our stomachs. Even in Texas, winters can get cold, including on the coast, and this was a particularly cold winter, staying in the 20s and teens if it even snowed on Christmas. Not enough to write home about, which maybe happens once every 10 to 15 years. Remember, this was Wednesday, and like I said, we had Christmas Eve and Christmas off, and then the weekend. 4 full days for that stink bait to stew in the running heating system. Come to find out later, the jackhole superintendent and his cronies had forgotten to lower the main thermostat before leaving for the long winter holiday weekend. The thermostat is normally lowered to 50 F when closed during cold weather and raised to 82 F when closed during warmer. Yeah, it was left at 75 F that whole weekend. It's Monday, and my friend and I pulled up to quite the scene that morning. Martians on all fours seemed to be littering the grounds of the school. Projectile vomiting spewed everywhere. There was an ambulance and 3 fire trucks on the scene with firemen in full rubbers, including respirators, running around everywhere. All of the doors and the windows of the school were open with giant fans venting the buildings. The air was putrid, and we turned green upon exiting the vehicle. Oh, holy foo was all I could say. What the hell happened here? Our boss was sitting on the hood of his car next to ours. His breakfast artfully painted the ground. The jackhole superintendent and a couple of his guys were in the back of the ambulance on oxygen as they had taken the full brunt upon opening the building. Okay, let's tally the damage. The smell had permeated everything, and I mean everything. The school, besides cafeteria, was fully carpeted. The drop ceilings were of the fiberglass type, as well as the insulation, so they absorbed the smell. The walls that weren't cinder block were papered and not painted. Since the inner ductwork was the insulated type, on the inside, all of that had to be replaced as well. Needless to say, tens of millions of dollars in damage. Also, a fence had to be erected to prevent such a thing from ever occurring again. Come to find out, the superintendent had skimped on the insurance and pocketed the money, so needless to say, it fell to his company to cover all of the costs. All of his underhanded dealings came to light in the end as well. Needless to say, he lost his job and was arrested, losing his contractor's license forever. Our boss never said anything, but I'm thinking, due to the way he always grinned at us after that day, that he had his suspicions that it was us. But he never turned us in and did put in for us a big raise, since the smell didn't permeate any of our stuff and our jobs were complete anyway. The plumbers, electricians, and pipe fitters were spared from ever having to enter that mess. Yeah, nearly 30 years. I guess the statutes of limitations are well up, so I can safely tell the story. I want to admit that I do feel ashamed for doing it. Being young and dumb and all is a great excuse, but a good contractor service went bankrupt and a lot of jobs were lost in the end. And from what I hear, the school still has a foul odor, even today. Well, about 15 years ago, when I last checked. Yeah, we expected to stink up the place, but did not expect such a result. Edit. I just want a note from a question in the comments. During that time, in the contractor/construction field, was a major boom. One could quit or lose their job and be working at another company within the hour and generally earning more money. TLDR. Corrupt superintendent prick on a job site scares my supervisor, causing a mild heart attack, so we cause a huge stink, literally, and get him thrown in jail, and he loses his license. When I reach 1,000 subscribers, I will be giving away a $25 Amazon gift card away. To enter, like, subscribe and leave a comment below.